It's not lagging today.
Right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Not Just Cricket live on the Cricket Smash YouTube channel. Well, you might be listening to us live or watching us live, or you might be listening to us in about an hour's time, because that's when we're going to post this podcast. My doorbell's just gone. Hopefully my girlfriend will go and get that right now. I've got a couple of deliveries on the way, but we're going to talk about what we just saw in Brisbane, because, geez, that was depressing, wasn't it? Yesterday, we showed a little bit of fight. We also didn't show some fight at times as well. We're going to get into that too. But today was just a little bit soul destroying, wasn't it? So Australia finished the day 44 ahead, 6 down. England had a chance under the lights, got a couple of wickets, and then Australia got back on the front foot. And I don't know what you think, Azeem, but I think it's very hard for England to get back in this game from here. I think we needed to bowl Australia out tonight. We had a small chance of doing that. I think we needed to bat a lot longer than we did as well, to give us a chance with a newer ball under lights, because we're bowling with an old ball under lights, which is not quite as good. But a lot went wrong today. 5 drop catches. We didn't bowl well at all again. How do you see it at the moment? Can you see England getting back in this game? I know it's only 44 runs, but it's going to be flat tomorrow. You know, like daytime, we've seen it's so much easier to bat. And if England have to go in and bat under the lights against the new ball, against Stark, good luck.
Well, you know, if I was looking at the match situation, I would say England has a chance. But if I was looking at the way England go about it, I think England has no chance. I am beyond anything I can put together to what mindset or what thought process England goes through when they're batting, bowling, or fielding. Period. What that was today was just completely and utterly embarrassing. They were, you know, England bowled 6 at one point with a pitch graph. They bowled 61.5% in the short bit. Under the lights, going into that last session, everyone's talking about got to pitch it up, you know, got to put them under pressure, try and get wickets. It's a crucial session. If we win this session, we're in the game. And I was thinking, please, England, don't do what you always do. Don't run in and bowl short. Genuinely thinking that that's stupid that they will. They've come out there and they're banging it halfway down. Cars is going at nearly 10 and over. Field spread everywhere. Players just walking around. I mean, this is the second test match. We're not at Sydney yet. You know, you normally see this really back end of Ashes series. As a match situation, England has a chance, because the reality is this is a very, very average Australian team. And they've shown signs themselves of thought process not being quite right and skill not being quite right. But I don't think England are in any position ever to take advantage of it, because they're too busy living in their cult, living in their own world, where everyone else is an idiot or a dinosaur and they know cricket better than everyone else. I thought today was utterly embarrassing.
I mean, cult's a bit strong. Come on, mate. But listen, I want to go back.
No, it's not as strong, because it's had people, so many people who are sane people defending this and agreeing with it. There was absolutely, I mean, I can't put my head to how the hell someone goes out there in that third session and starts banging it halfway down and saying that that was the right way to go about it.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, I was trying to think about that as well. And I just wonder whether that first innings in the first test match, when we just blew them away with pace, the bowlers were fresh, and they did bowl short then as well, and it worked. I wonder if that has just completely lulled them into some sort of way of thinking that we just have to bowl short and we have to bump this team out. But the difference is we're not bowling as quick as we did in that first innings, because the bowlers haven't had as much rest and they don't have as much pep as they had in that first couple of sessions. And you've got to adapt to conditions. Bowling under the lights with a pink ball is totally different, isn't it? Like every time we pitched it up, when he pitches up to Josh English, Ben Stokes, he bowls him, right? I think at one point there was a graphic flashed up, and we had hit the stumps 20 times out of 359 balls. That's astonishing.
Well, that there tells you. I mean, that start everywhere, but that tells you everything. But you say that the bowlers have not had a rest, and I think that sometimes where you try and find a reason as to what actually they've not played enough cricket. These guys have not played any cricket, and it's showing in the way, because bowling is not just about, okay, I tell my brain I'm going to bowl there, I run in and bowl there. It's rhythms, it's miles in the legs, it's thinking. I mean, who would have thought it, right? You do the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same results. England look underprepared, they look out of a gallop. But even with all of that, that thought process, that thing about being lulled into, thinking that they were going to blow Australia away, I think they're lulled into thinking that they're going to do what no one's ever done, and they're going to do whatever they want to do, and in the end, they'll find a way to win the match. I don't know where that comes from, because it doesn't come from data, it doesn't come from facts, and that's why I'm calling it a cult. Harry Brook is a great example of it. Yesterday there was a guy who got his 40th Test 100 yesterday, and I don't know if anyone saw how he went about it. Maybe just maybe, might be worth looking at him and going, you know what? Why don't we just copy him? 40th Test 100. He's one of the best we've ever produced. Stokes, McCullum, Key, the whole setup. This was coming. I'm sorry, this was coming. You cannot disrespect the game the way these guys continue to do it. They didn't use the 12 days. You can't just throw away all basics of the game. And, Matt Pryor has been on, which has been a good addition. And it was great to listen to someone finally talk about the absolute crap that we're watching, which is what it has been. And, for far too long, and all of the guys who are going to be sharpening their pencils up, they've supported it. They've everyone has got into this false sense of what's happening in front of us. But the reality is, we've not won against India. We've not won against Australia. And actually, as I've kept saying, we'll look back at this time as a missed opportunity, because those teams are not that strong. Australia looked dross in the field. They look terrible on the first day. They left lying out. Their thought process looks all over the place. We're making them look like the best team in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if we lose 5-0 to this Australia side, it would be ridiculous, because you're right, they are a poor Australia side. But that could happen from here. I mean, look, obviously, the bowling was not good. The fielding was very poor. You can't drop 5 catches. But for me, it's the batting is the biggest problem. For me, it's the batting. Now, if you look at the conditions in this day-night test match, it is so much easier to bat in the day. You need to have set batters coming in under the lights. If you don't have set batters coming under the lights, you're in trouble, right? We saw that today, even with England getting a couple of quick wickets. It's hard to start under the lights. Now, I wonder if we're going to look back at this test match, and the 2 key wickets probably will be Harry Brook, when he was set and he got out just before twilight with a wafty drive off Mitchell Starc. Again, why can't we just see out Mitchell Starc? Because, at the other end, it's like the old Ilford second 11 at the other end, and World 11 from his end. The old quote that Graham Gooch said about Richard Hadley, I think it was. Why can't we just bat with a bit of nous? So that wicket, then Stokes comes in. Stokes does very well, and then there's a run out. And, run out, these things happen, but you can't have a run out in a game like this. If Stokes had managed to stay in, he was looking good. If we'd got to the first day 5 or 6 down, and then we could have batted today for a session and a half, say, would have made a huge difference in this game. Not just with the runs, obviously, but then you're bowling at the right time with the new ball under the lights. And it seems like we've just handed the advantage to Australia, now given them the best of the conditions. Tomorrow, they're going to bat with a ball that's a bit soft initially. It's not going to be doing much. It's going to be flat. They're going to be able to bat possibly for a session and a bit. And that means that when the lights come on, their bowlers will have a newer ball. It's not rocket science. You've got to make use of the conditions.
Yeah, well, you say it's not rocket science. It seems to be for this England team and this England, this England environment. It's as if they get together and they go, "What's the normal thing to do?" I'm sure they don't, but with every decision, it feels like they get together and say, "What's the normal thing to do? What does everyone think is the right way?" Right, we're going to do the total opposite. At this stage, how else can you describe everything? You talk about batting, talk about bowling, different captaincy, coaching, messaging, you name it. There is not a single thing that you're looking at and going, there's a saying called cricket is a simple game complicated by idiots. And I'm sorry, that everything I've seen leading up to it, during the match, it is a game that's been complicated. And it's no surprise. It's not the first time we've seen Harry Brook do it. I've kept banging on about it. Every time I post about that, you get this pushback of, yeah, but he averages 56. Yes, he averages 56. Yes, he's absolutely brilliant. But tell me, if you think that someone who's going to run down the wicket, hit over extra cover at 39 for 3, they're going to do that consistently and win you Test series against the best in the world, I'm happy to put my house on it that he will not. So, and he's your second best player in the world. This has just become such a norm. Every time you think, I think back to the Home Ashes series, the first 2 Test matches, that first one at Edgbaston declaring. I mean, what the F was that all about? But that tells you the mindset of how they're thinking. That they have got themselves into this closed room siege mentality where they're going to do the most outrageous things. Picking Shoaib Bashir off a few, clips online. It was a great story. Where's that led you? You were building up to play in Australia, and you come here and you've not played him. You picked a guy who last played a Test match, God knows when. What were you thinking? The thought process is so flawed. It's so flawed that even when they find themselves in a situation where you think, right, they can take advantage, your gut feeling tells you they're going to turn it around and give it back to them. And I wouldn't rule out, in this situation, they're going to go to bed, right? And they know the pencils are being sharpened. They know they've had a shocking day, right? They'll be hurting. Absolutely no doubt about it. And they'll come out of nowhere tomorrow. They'll fight. I'm pretty sure they will fight tomorrow. And they'll find themselves at some point in a situation tomorrow that if a little bit of patience, a little bit of fight, a little bit of grittiness, they might engineer themselves into potentially an opportunity, because this Australian team is not that good. But when they get into that opportunity, they're going to do the very stupid thing that they always do. They're going to go be too attacking and throw it back, whichever way, whether there's a bat with ball, and they'll hand it back to Australia. That's been consistent. And like you said, this could end up 2-0. Then everyone goes to the preparation and everything else. You had 12 days. The bowlers, I'm surprised that not enough has been talked about how the bowlers actually look out of a gallop. They look out of sync. They look out of rhythm. That doesn't happen in nets. That happens in matches.
Yeah, and paces are down as well a little bit. You can see too. I mean, look, for all of this, all this negativity, right? As you say there, England will probably show a bit of fight tomorrow. And actually, look, they're only 44 ahead. They're 6 down. So say if England somehow come in tomorrow and they've got a new ball coming up very soon, they come in tomorrow and they roll Australia for another 40 runs, right? So the lead is 80, 85. England then have a decent time before the lights come on to get ahead of Australia. So actually, England are not completely out of this game yet. We don't think they're going to get back in it just because of the way they're playing at the moment. But the opportunity is still there. England are not done. If they can actually really pull something out of the bag, both with ball and then take advantage with the bat. Now, the thing I'm most concerned about is whether we can take advantage with the bat, the way that we are playing. But they are not, technically, if you look at the scoreboard, I know we're being negative, they are not out of this game.
Well, firstly, we're not being negative. I don't think we're being negative at all. There'll be people who have stayed up through the night in England. There's going to be over 40,000 people going across to Australia. There were a lot of people that have travelled, that have saved money, gone to Perth, and then not got to watch a lot of cricket and watch that. So, and I think if watching what we watched today, if we can't say what's in front of us and without it being called negative or dinosaurs, then I don't know at what point you can actually call it for what what you see in front of it. I fully agree with you. I from a scoreboard position point of view, England has an opportunity, still does. But the way they go about it, I think they're done and dusted. And I think even now, even now, I said it after the Champions Trophy, said it after the first test, even now, if they change tact, if they just realise how poor this Australian team is, if they realise that actually, we can take our time. We can take our time. Look at Joe Root, for goodness sake. He's the best we've ever produced. We spoke about it on thing. I felt one of the reasons he was going to do well this week is because you could see the clips and the training and the way he was going through his business, right? And you can see when he goes out there, the method. It's the method. The method is the only thing. England have got some very, very good players, but the method has got to be simplified and just brought back to some sort of normality and just grit it out. You only win in Australia through attritional cricket. You only win in Australia through patient cricket. Anyone that's won there, that's how they've won. So please, you've still got time.
Yeah, no, they do. They do. Listen, let's just hope we're going to do this again tomorrow. Thank you very much for the guys that are tuning in live. We will do this again tomorrow at the same time. As soon as that last ball is bowled, we will pop up and give you a bit of instant reaction. And yeah, I don't want to be talking about this again tomorrow. So come on, England, put your fingers out. Let's get back in this game somehow. Knock them over quickly tomorrow before they've got too many further ahead, and then we got to bat properly. We really do. We got to bat better than we did in that first innings. Bat like Joe Root. Give him some support. Listen, Crawley got some runs. He looks back in nick, which is good. We need Duckett to come to the party, and you never know. But up against it from here. Up against it. Thanks very much, guys, for tuning in. This is It's Not Just Cricket, and we will see you all tomorrow.